My wife says you're on a business trip, but I happened to see her in a restaurant with another man. That's how it started. Not with suspicion, not with a gut feeling, just a sentence that didn't make sense. I wasn't even supposed to be in that part of town. I'd left work early, feeling off, like I needed air. I remember standing outside the glass window, replaying that message in my head. She had texted me that morning. Flight landed. Meetings all week. Miss you. But there she was. Laughing. Leaning forward. Touching his hand like it was something familiar. I didn't go in. I just stood there like an idiot, staring at my own reflection layered over their table. We've been married for 11 years. 2 kids. A house we nearly lost once but managed to keep. I thought we were solid. Not perfect but real. That night, I went home, kissed my kids goodnight, and texted her. Hope the meetings went well. She replied. Exhausting. Going to sleep early. I didn't sleep at all. Before that day, life felt predictable. Not exciting, but safe. We had routines, Sunday breakfasts, arguing over bills, watching shows we didn't really care about just to sit together. I used to think comfort meant stability. Now I'm not so sure. Looking back, there were signs. Of course there were. She started traveling more for work about a year ago. Promotions, conferences, opportunities. I was proud of her. I bragged about her to friends, told people how driven she was. She also started caring more about how she looked. New clothes, gym memberships, late-night skincare routines. I joked about her having a glow-up phase. She laughed it off. There were nights she'd come home late and go straight to the shower. I never questioned it. Why would I? We trusted each other. At least I thought we did. The first real crack wasn't even big. I found her phone face down once. Locked. She used to never care about that. When I asked, she said, work stuff. Confidential. And I just accepted it. After seeing her in that restaurant, something inside me split. Part of me wanted to believe there was an explanation. A colleague. A client. Maybe even someone she ran into by accident. The other part of me knew exactly what I saw. That night, I started noticing everything. The way she texted less. The way her calls became shorter. The way she'd say, I love you. Like it was something she needed to remember to say. I checked our bank account the next day. There were charges from that restaurant. Not just once. Multiple times over the past 3 months. I felt sick. I almost called her right then, but I didn't. I needed to hear it from her face, not through a screen. So I waited. When she came home 3 days later, she hugged me like nothing had changed. Like I hadn't seen her somewhere she wasn't supposed to be. I hugged her back. And I hated myself for it. The first confrontation didn't go how I imagined. I didn't scream. I didn't accuse. I just asked, how was your trip? She smiled, kicked off her shoes, started talking about meetings, deadlines, people I'd never heard of. I watched her carefully. Every word felt rehearsed. Then I said it. I saw you. She froze. Not dramatically. Just paused for a second too long. What do you mean? She asked. At the restaurant. Downtown. There was a silence I can't properly describe. It felt heavy, like the air itself was pressing down on us. She laughed. Actually laughed. You must have seen someone else. And for a second, just a second, I almost believed her. But then I said, blue dress. Corner table. You touched his hand. Her face changed. That's when I knew. She didn't confess right away. Instead, she tried to turn it around. Why were you there? She asked, like that was the real issue. I remember feeling confused. Like somehow I was the one caught doing something wrong. I work nearby, I said. Stop deflecting. She crossed her arms, defensive now. It was a colleague. We were discussing a project. Do you always hold hands with colleagues? I asked. That hit something. Her eyes filled with tears almost instantly, and for a moment I felt guilty. Like I'd pushed too hard. I can't believe you're accusing me like this, she said. And there it was, the manipulation I didn't recognize back then. I started doubting myself. Maybe I misread it. Maybe I exaggerated what I saw. But then I remembered the way she leaned in. The way she smiled. That wasn't work. That wasn't innocent. That was intimacy. And I knew it. The truth came out 2 days later. Not because she wanted to tell me, but because I wouldn't let it go. I asked again. And again. Calmly at first, then less so. Finally, she broke. Fine, she said, her voice shaking. Yes, I've been seeing someone. Hearing it out loud felt worse than anything I imagined. How long? I asked. She hesitated. 6 months. 6 months. Half a year of lies. Half a year of coming home to me, to our kids, pretending everything was normal. Do you love him? I asked, even though I didn't want to know. Another pause. I don't know. That answer hurt more than a yes. Because it meant she was already somewhere else emotionally. And I was just there. I wish I could say I reacted with dignity. I didn't. I yelled. I said things I regret. I asked questions no one should ask because the answers only make things worse. Where did you meet him? Have you slept with him in our house? Do the kids know him? She cried the entire time. At one point she said, I didn't plan this. Like that somehow made it better. I remember laughing. A bitter, hollow sound. Cheating for 6 months isn't an accident, I said. She tried to explain. Said she felt distant from me. Said we'd become roommates. Said she needed something more. And maybe she was right. Maybe we had drifted. But I didn't step outside the marriage. I didn't lie. I didn't build a second life behind her back. The worst part wasn't even the affair itself. It was realizing how long I'd been invisible to her. She described him in vague terms: kind, attentive, someone who listened. Things I thought I was. Or at least tried to be. I started questioning everything. Every moment we'd shared in the past year felt fake. Every I love you sounded like a performance in my memory. I couldn't eat. Couldn't sleep. I'd sit in the living room at night, replaying conversations, looking for the exact moment things changed. Was it when I started working longer hours? Was it when we stopped going out as much? Or was it always inevitable? She kept saying, I'm sorry, but it didn't land. Sorry doesn't erase 6 months. Sorry doesn't rebuild trust. Sorry doesn't make me unsee what I saw through that window. We tried to keep things normal for the kids. That was the agreement. No fighting in front of them. No sudden changes. But kids notice everything. My son asked me one night, why don't you and Mom sit together anymore? I didn't have an answer. We started sleeping in separate rooms. Quietly at first, like it was temporary. It wasn't. She said she needed space to figure things out. I hated that phrase. Figure what out? Whether our marriage was worth saving? Whether he was a better option? I felt like I was in a competition I never agreed to join. And the worst part? I didn't know if I even wanted to win anymore. We went to therapy. I thought maybe that would help. Maybe there was something salvageable. The therapist asked us basic questions: communication, intimacy, expectations. It felt clinical. Detached. At one point, she admitted she was still seeing him. Just talking, she said. I almost walked out. How are we supposed to fix this if you're still involved with him? I asked. She didn't answer. The therapist suggested boundaries. I wanted commitment. Those are not the same thing. After 3 sessions, I stopped going. It felt pointless trying to rebuild something she wasn't ready to let go of. The breaking point didn't come with shouting or slammed doors or anything dramatic like I used to imagine it would. It came quietly. Almost gently. I got home early from work that day. No real reason, a meeting got cancelled, and I figured I'd surprise the kids, maybe cook dinner for once. I remember thinking, this is what normal people do. Try to rebuild something simple. She was sitting on the couch when I walked in. She didn't notice me at first. She was smiling at her phone. Not just a casual smile, the kind that lingers. The kind that softens your face without you realizing it. The kind I hadn't seen directed at me in a long time. And suddenly I was back outside that restaurant. Same expression. Same energy. Same distance. "Hey," I said. She flinched slightly, then locked her phone and looked up. "Oh, you're home early." I nodded, but I didn't say anything else. Something inside me shifted in that moment. Not snapped, just settled. Like a decision had been forming quietly for months, and it finally reached the surface. That night, after the kids went to bed, I didn't raise my voice. "I'm done," I said. She looked confused at first. "Done with what?" "With waiting. With pretending. With hoping you'll choose me." She stared at me, and for the first time in a long time, she looked scared. But I wasn't angry anymore. And that scared me more than anything. Separation wasn't explosive. There were no dramatic fights over plates or shouting matches that the neighbors could hear. It was slow. Heavy. Exhausting in a completely different way. We sat at the kitchen table like strangers negotiating a business deal. Who keeps the house? How we split time with the kids? What holidays look like now? Every decision felt like cutting something apart that used to be whole. She cried a lot during those conversations. I didn't. I think I had already cried everything out weeks before that. I moved out about 2 weeks later. The apartment I found was small, bare, and temporary. The kind of place you don't decorate because you don't plan on staying. The first night there, I sat on the floor because I didn't even have furniture yet. It was quiet in a way that felt unnatural. No footsteps. No distant TV noise. No kids arguing over something stupid. Just silence. And my thoughts. I kept checking my phone out of habit, expecting a message from her. Not because I wanted one, just because I was used to it. She did text a few times. "Are you okay? I miss you. I didn't mean for things to end like this." I stared at those messages for a long time. But I never knew which version of her was writing them. The one who betrayed me. Or the one who was afraid of losing me. And I didn't know if it even mattered anymore. People assume it gets easier once you leave. Like distance automatically heals something. It doesn't. It just gives you more space to think. And thinking can be brutal. People have asked me if I hate her. Friends. Family. Even my therapist. The honest answer is no. And I wish I did. Because hate would be simpler. Cleaner. Easier to carry. Instead, I'm stuck with something messy. I still care about her. Not in the same way. Not in a way that makes me want her back, at least not consciously. But there's a part of me that still remembers who she used to be. Or maybe who I believed she was. I think about small things sometimes. The way she used to laugh at my terrible jokes. The way she'd fall asleep halfway through movies and deny it when I pointed it out. Those memories feel real. But now they're contaminated. Because I don't know when they stopped being true. I've caught myself more than once thinking, what if I gave her another chance? And every time, I have to replay that moment. The restaurant. The lie. The 6 months I didn't know about. And I remind myself, I wasn't just betrayed once. I was betrayed every single day she chose not to tell me. It's been a little over a year now. The divorce is finalized. Papers signed, assets divided, everything officially over in the eyes of the law. It felt strange when it happened. Not dramatic. Not emotional. Just final. Like closing a door you can't reopen even if you wanted to. She's still with him. At least, that's what I've heard. I don't ask questions anymore. I don't check. I don't look for updates. That part of my life isn't mine anymore. The kids have adjusted better than I expected. That's probably the one thing that keeps me grounded. We have a routine now. They spend part of the week with me, part with her. At first, every handoff felt unbearable. Watching them leave. Watching them go back to the house that used to be mine too. But over time, it became manageable. Not okay. Just survivable. I've made an effort to be present when they're with me. To not let my bitterness leak into how I talk about their mother. They deserve better than that. I've also started dating again. Carefully. Slowly. And honestly, awkwardly. I don't trust easily anymore. Every small inconsistency feels like a potential red flag. Every delayed text makes my mind wander in directions I don't want it to go. It's exhausting. But I'm trying. If I'm being honest, I don't think there's a clean lesson here. People like to wrap these things up with some kind of meaning. Something neat and reassuring. Everything happens for a reason. You'll come out stronger. Maybe that's true. But it doesn't erase what happened. Betrayal isn't always loud. It doesn't always come with obvious warning signs or dramatic reveals. Sometimes it's subtle. A shift in tone. A change in habits. A message that doesn't quite make sense. And sometimes, it's just a moment. A random day. A glance through a window you weren't even supposed to look through. I still think about that moment more than anything else. Not the arguments. Not the confession. Just that quiet realization that something wasn't right. That my reality and the truth were no longer the same thing. It changed how I see everything. Trust. Love. Even myself. I don't know if I'll ever fully process it. I don't know if I'll ever trust someone the same way again. But I do know this. Once you see something like that, you can't go back to not knowing. And sometimes, that's the hardest part to live with.